Hey everybody, welcome back to Wallet Reset. It's Mike Malbrough once again. In this video, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, the law of attraction, and why you need to understand both if you want to have a successful start of your business. All right, so before I get started, let me just tell you why I wanted to make this video today. So I get a lot of questions on Quora.com, right? And a lot of people ask about how to get rich quick, right? Or how to make $1 million within some absurdly short amount of time. And almost always it's prefaced with like the easiest or the best or like people want to know how to get rich fast and they want to make it easy. And so it's completely unrealistic. But, let me not say it's unrealistic. It's realistic if you are coming from a place of understanding the law of attraction, understanding why it's important. So let's get into that. So the law of attraction, emotional intelligence, pick one, right? Because it's actually the same thing. The law of attraction, if you watch Secret, they say that basically your thoughts are things, right? Your thoughts create your external world, all right? And you can monitor all of your thoughts and it'll drive you crazy, or you can just think about how you're feeling, monitor your emotions, because your emotions come from your thoughts. So that being said, right, and I'm going to tie this in to how this can affect you if you're starting a business in a moment, but what that means is you have to develop emotional intelligence in order to even use the law of attraction for your own benefit. All right. So in psychology, there is something that you have to also understand is that you have a way of basically creating thoughts, creating patterns for yourself that literally will sabotage you. Right. And when you have the mindset of someone who's looking for the easiest, fastest way to become, make $1 million or become a millionaire. Most of the time, I find that people are primarily making that inquiry, or they're trying to do that based on anxiety or fear or some negative emotion, right? Or even some super duper positive emotion, right? Now, there's a problem with both. Because if you're super duper like positive or super duper negative, it comes off in your body language. So your body language is 80% of your communication, right? So for example, I used to sell cars, and one of the things that I learned very quickly through learning sales before I got to selling cars was you don't want to be thinking about your bills. You don't want to be thinking about making a sale when you're selling. You want to be thinking about what the customer needs, because it comes across. You look like you're desperate. And if you're thinking about getting rich, if you're thinking about anything other than your customer and you're starting a business, you are probably going to hit a brick wall somewhere, because your business is about your customer. And you're not in business to get rich. I know that sounds weird because a lot of people start businesses to get rich, or else why I started. Now, not saying that you can't get rich. Obviously, most people who start a business and get rich are very, there's a lot of people out there who've done it. But in reality, you don't really get rich cash. I guess the best way to say it is you don't get rich by starting a business, as like that's not a guaranteed way. There's plenty of people who are living check to check, or even like missing money simply by having a business and not a job. So you're not guaranteed to get rich simply because you start a business. Also, one of the things that's important to understand is when you're in business, your goal is to help a customer satisfy a problem or give them something of value, right? And you have to satisfy the customer, because ultimately, the customer doesn't have to do business with you, right? They choose to do business with you. And when they choose not to do business with you, you go out of business. And so what that means is if you're focused on getting rich, if you're focused on what you get, it literally will come across in your communication. So you're going to look and say things unconsciously, and you're going to act unconsciously like it's about you. All right. Now, can you be somewhat thinking about yourself? Yes, please do. But here's the thing. You have to put yourself second to the customer when you're selling. Because for example, if I'm trying to sell somebody a car and they come in talking about they want they need a truck, and I try to sell them a teenager's car, like a starter car, it doesn't make sense. I'm thinking about my commission, and I'm thinking about the fact that it's like, oh, they told us, in the sales meeting this morning that if I sold one of these, I get an extra $100 in my bonus or my spiff or whatever. And at the end of the day, you lose all of it because you're thinking about how much you could add to it. You know what I mean? And so hopefully you guys understand that, because I feel like I'm going deep into that. I don't want to go any farther into that. Hopefully you guys understand what I mean by you need to understand the law of attraction. Now, for a business owner, for someone who's starting a business, if you're trying to build a business and you're trying to get rich within a year, it's very possible to make $1 million in a year. It's very possible, right? You're going to need to be realistic about how it has to be done, though, right? And you can think about what you want as long as you're thinking about what the customer needs, right? So if you put the customer's needs first, if you have a budget for advertising, if you have a time for creating content for content marketing, there's certain things that you're gonna have to have if you're gonna try to start a business that is going to make $1 million in a year. And ultimately, it's gonna require you to reinvest in the business. And see, this is where like 99% of get rich quick people lose, is because they're thinking about getting rich from a poor person's mentality, right? They're thinking about getting rich from a place of lack, and that's why they're super happy. And they're thinking about, oh man, it's going to be great to drive this Ferrari or this, Lamborghini, or you watch too many people on YouTube that like literally show you all the materialistic stuff that has nothing to, like, all it really means is that you pay big bills, right? If you get what I'm saying. Like, if I buy a Lamborghini, that means I bought a $500,000 car. That's cool and all, but at the end of the day, you didn't make $500,000. You just gave away $500,000. Actually, more when you think about financing. Same thing with having a mansion. Like, and I'm not saying don't get that stuff if that's what you like. Get it, but don't get it. Don't chase being rich to have those things, and don't chase being rich also. Now here's the important part, especially if you ever have had any like me, right? For example, and I'm speaking personally, I've had issues with what's known as acute financial stress, right? If you've never heard of acute financial stress, I'll probably make a video about this later, but acute financial stress is literally when you have PTSD-like symptoms, all based on thinking about money. And for some of you, it's going to be like, what? How? And then there's some of you, especially if you're a millennial, almost 40% of millennials suffer with AFS. So what happens is you have this sense of dread, right? And it's all based on thinking about money. And what ultimately you're trying to do is avoid homelessness, or you're trying to avoid poverty, or you're trying to, like, and here's the thing that's even crazier about it. You could be making $100,000 a year. You can make 6 figures a year and still be scared out of your mind about losing money. You get what I'm saying? And so it's not just about you being poor. It's really just the stress that you put yourself in. And ultimately, this is why I made Wallet Reset. This is why it's called wallet reset, is because the reset part is you have to reset the way that you think. You have to reset your mind, because you don't want to get to a point where you've built up this imaginary like goal of like, when I get this thing, right, this wealth, or this if I get rich, I'll be happy. That's not going to happen. I got to a point where I had, within 2 years, I built up to like $500,000 net worth from literally nothing, right? I actually bought my first house, as some of you may know from watching the first video that I did on this channel. I bought my first house and had no money. I bought it kind of not even understanding the law of attraction, and I did use the law of attraction without knowing it. Had no money down. I got a check at closing for, a sum of money that helped me pay off the rent that I owed, get a truck, all this other stuff. But ultimately, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. You have to understand that financial stress is the enemy. And you also thinking about what you can get from having lots of money is the enemy of making sales. All right. And ultimately, if you have a business, you are in sales, but you have to be able to put yourself aside and focus on helping people. Focus on being the superhero to your audience. All right, and I'm hopefully you guys understand how serious this is, and I'm really getting to this point of telling you this because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, and it all really came down to I had a serious case of like the get rich quick scheme chaser. Right, I was going from opportunity to opportunity, thinking that it's like, oh, the grass is greener over here. And what ends up happening is you try it, it may work a little bit or it doesn't work at all, and you're like, that was a scam, or that's stupid, or blah, blah. And after years of, that was like 10, 12 years ago, but after years of doing that and years of struggling to try to get rich, right, I started to learn more about psychology and business and all these other things, and I came to realize, like, you are the scam. It's not the business. It's not the thing that you're trying to sell. It's you, because you believed that it was that and not you, right? So ultimately, I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't want to get too long-winded. But ultimately, what I want you to understand and gain from this video is you have to take control of your expectations, take control of your mind, take control of your emotions. Because once you control your emotions, and once you can say, hey, I want to have $1 million in the bank. That's literally just you saying that I have the intention to put $1 million in my bank account. All right. And how do I do that? By making money and putting some of it in the bank account. Or you can say, I want to have $1 million in a stock portfolio. And how do you do that? Take $1 million out of the income you earn and put it into a stock account. You want $1 million in real estate? You get what I'm saying? And I think that when you have trouble with having either anxiety or super duper fancy ideas of what it means to be rich or means to have wealth, you start to put emphasis on the wrong thing, because in reality, you can't buy a car and get wealthy or feel better about it. Like, you get a high, you'll get a emotional emotional boost from being like, wow, I can't believe I have this car, or I can't believe I bought this house, or I can't believe, you get what I'm saying? And then you're gonna realize, like, oh, it's a car, it's fast. A lot of guys will look at you, because in reality, girls don't. Some girls will look at you, but it'll probably be more guys than girls that look at you for having a nice car, because guys like nice cars. Girls like nice cars too, but most girls are stigmatized into thinking like, I don't want to like a guy for his car because I don't want to be a gold digger. So you're going to mostly have a lot of guys' attention. So anyway, just stay focused on the customer. Stay focused on helping people. Become a person who is constantly listening to their emotions and understanding like, okay, well, I'm feeling super duper excited, or I'm feeling super duper nervous about doing this, like launching this product, or I'm super excited about, you know, this customer that's going to come in, right? You want to stay stoic, right? Stay on an even keel. That's what stoics literally can have the world crumble around them, and they're going to be like, oh, it's okay. You know, a stoic is going to have like a baby be born and be like, wow, this is awesome, but tomorrow's a new day. And they can enjoy things, but they stay on an even keel emotionally, because you don't want your emotions are basically just a roller coaster, and you don't want to ride that ride. So anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe, because I do videos like this every day. So anyway, this is Mike Malbrough. It's been fun talking to you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.